Hey, mostly.
Yeah, what is it, you wanker? Knight, I hate to tell you this, but you're out of a book. The voodoo murders case has been closed.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, son of a bitch. Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
The case? What case? I told you. The voodoo murders case is closed.
How can you just close it? It's not solved, is it?
Oh, it's solved. Turns out the Chicago Mafia was trying to invade local territory, using Mississippi for drug running now that Florida's so hot. What we had here was a little resistance from local businessmen. Word came in this morning that the Chicago group is giving up and pulling out of New Orleans.
But that doesn't bring the killers to justice.
Well, the boys upstairs seem to figure it this way. Let the slime kill each other. Better the vermin we know than the Chicago vermin, I guess. The attitude in the department is that we've just been done a huge favor. They're probably right.
What about the local cartel? Are you just gonna let them go?
At least they're part of us. We'll deal with them over time, always have. New Orleans is pretty clean that way, you know.
Well, that's the illusion, isn't it?
Look, I'm not totally in agreement here either, but what can I do? These guys are not about to get caught. I'm disappointed about the book, too. Next big murder case I get, I'll call you in and we'll do that one up right, okay? In fact, I could probably dig up some old cases and you could spice them up.
No, thanks. Crash is dead.
What? What are you talking about? I let him go yesterday.
Yeah, and I watched him die yesterday at St. Louis Cathedral.
At the cathedral? Guess he was trying to get a last-minute A-train ticket, eh? Poor bastard.
I think you should go find the body at the morgue. He was killed by the voodoo cult. Crash said.
Crash said? Did he mention pink elephants, too?
Aren't you going to investigate?
Civilians. Did you actually see someone kill him?
No. Actually, I was with him when he died. Could have been poison, though.
Yeah, well, when they get the body in, they'll do a quick autopsy. Standard procedure. If it's anything other than an overdose, I'll get a report. But it won't happen. I know these guys. Lock them up overnight and they tend to overdo it the next day.
Your professionalism is astonishing. There's been another murder. A professor at Tulane.
Oh, Christ, you're not gonna start this again.
Just listen. This guy's name is Hartridge. He was a professor in African Studies at Tulane. Yesterday, I went to see him about the voodoo murders case. He agreed to do some research for me. He calls me up this morning, tells me he's onto something big. And when I get over there, the guy's dead.
You know, you're really getting your ass in a sling over this thing, Knight.
It's not about me. Look, Hartridge's death looked just like Crash's. I'm telling you, they were both murdered. And by the same people who did the voodoo murders.
Did either Crash or this new guy have their hearts ripped out?
No.
Then there's nothing to link either to the voodoo murders, M.O. Besides that, the case is closed, Knight. If the coroner's report asks for a homicide investigation on either of these guys, fine. But it's not going to be related to the voodoo murders case unless we find damn good reason to do so.
But I'm the link to the voodoo murders case, don't you see?
Look, if I were you, I wouldn't repeat that to anyone. If I weren't an old friend of yours, I might take you seriously and lock you up. As it is, maybe you should start keeping your mouth shut. Not involve other people with this shit. You think it's so dangerous.
How can I convince you to reopen the case?
Look, the department's not interested.
So, couldn't you make them interested?
With what? I've got 7 bodies and still no leads. The voodoo angle's worthless. And besides, these people aren't hurting anybody but out-of-town drug dealers and hitmen.
The voodoo stuff is not worthless. It's the key to the whole thing. And these people are dangerous. They need to be stopped.
Okay. You want me to reopen this case? Prove what you just said.
What do you mean?
You need to prove there's a legitimate voodoo cult in New Orleans. Prove that they're a threat. Get me a lead on the cult.
You know those marks you found around the murder victims? This is a reconstruction of the whole pattern.
What makes you think this is an accurate reconstruction?
Well, I borrowed the partial patterns from your police file and did my own tracing of the pattern at Lake Pontchartrain. An architectural artist reconstructed it for me from the partials.
Really? So this is the whole pattern, huh? Well, that's pretty good work, Knight. But that doesn't prove that this pattern is really connected to voodoo.
Take a look at these notes. They're from Professor Hartridge, Tulane University.
Yeah? And what about them?
They confirm that the pattern from the murders is of African origin.
Really? It's incredible, isn't it? Something like that showing up here?
It's been here for quite some time, so it seems.
I'm impressed. Okay, you've convinced me. The murders were done by a legitimate voodoo cult.
This is a newspaper clipping about a murder committed in 1810. That murder is an exact match of the voodoo murders, right down to the marks around the bodies.
This does sound like the same M.O. 1810?
1810. They killed then, they're killing now. Isn't that proof that they're likely to kill again? That they are a threat?
Okay, they're a threat.
I have these 2 snake scales. One's from the crime scene at Lake Pontchartrain. The other's from a snake in the Voodoo Museum on Ursulines and Charters.
Is this common? Do they all look alike?
Not at all. They're both constrictor scales, and the coloring is the same. The python's coloring is quite individualistic.
A python?
That's right. Hardly an indigenous snake to Louisiana. Somehow, some way, the Voodoo Museum's python was at the scene of the Lake Pontchartrain murder.
Well, I'd call that a lead, all right. Certainly suggests certain lines of inquiry at the museum. Not bad work, Knight. If we can tie them into this voodoo cult, we just might have something. Okay, I'll reopen the case. I hate to admit it, but you've done some pretty good detective work here, Knight.
Well, you know what they say. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Well, point taken. Glad I could inspire you. I'll check around the department, but I have a feeling I'm on my own. In fact, I better lock up this office just in case I step on a few toes. Come on. Now, lay low and let me handle this.
Yeah, fine.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Dang!